to all of you wonderful viewers out there. Hi, I'm Awesome Joe, and thank you guys so much for taking in the time of your day to watching another episode of Awesome Joe's Play Back-to-Back Movie Reviews. And today we're going to go ahead and be talking about Marvel's next film in the Phase 4 Marvel Cinematic Universe, Eternals. Not The Eternals, but Eternals. And as we all have been told about this movie, the majority of us are not really familiar as to, even though that we are just fans of the cinematic universe that Marvel has brought to us, has brought to the table these last 20 years, really, there is no significant idea as to what we know about the Eternals. We don't know about the story, we don't know about who they are and how their team is developed, where their origin story comes from. But until now, this is something that I actually am looking forward towards, because I know that Marvel does have a habit of bringing forth onto the Marvel table of unknown superhero comic book characters. They did that with Guardians of the Galaxy. They did that with Shang-Chi recently, a few months back. And now here we are once more again with Eternals. So I had a good amount of faith towards this movie, hoping that this movie would be of great success. Oh boy, was I wrong. Because this movie is directed by Chloe Zhao. And I'm not familiar with her work, but I know that she is an Academy Award winning director. And having to knowing that gave me a good amount of faith, feeling and hoping that this movie would have been of great success. And based off of what I have heard before having to going out to watching this movie, is the fact that there are going to be mixed reviews. That this movie was not going to be another Marvel movie that we all know about within these last 20 somewhat movies, these last 10 years. So I tried to lower my expectations very down to the minimal as I can possibly do so. Walked into that theater and just sat and watched the entire thing. Now, I would go ahead and mention that there's about a good quarter of the film that really caught my attention, that really pulled me in, that really favored me enough to say that, okay, this is actually an interesting and fun movie. But then there's some moments where the movie slows itself down. I feel like the movie stretches itself way too much. And based off of what I've known, that I've been researching on, is that these Eternals, this group of characters, the way that they are casted is completely different away from the comic book adaptation. We got Ajak, that's played by Salma Hayek. I love the superpowers that they use throughout this entire movie. Every single one of them has their own individual superpower, and I'm very fond of that. I really do like it, and the way that they are portrayed in this movie was very impressive. So I did have a great impression off of that. But yes, Ajak is the healer of this group, and the leader of this group, and her superpower is healing. So I thought that was a really cool superpower. Not a fighting technique, but it was great getting to know what it was and how she gets to use it. Ikaris, that's played by Richard Madden. I really do love this guy. Not because of the fact that he reminds me a lot of Superman, because his capabilities are flying and have laser eyes. It looks very cool the way that he uses them when he's fighting against these deviant creatures, which are galactic demon dog-looking type of figures. And these deviants are the reason why the Eternals have been on Earth within these last 7,000 years, but have never interfered with human situations, wars, anything that human mankind has developed, especially the knowledge building to where we were from the beginning to where we are today in modern days. So, and there's a specific reason that is explained in this movie. And am I all up for it? It makes sense when it comes to story-based of this movie in particularly itself, but I find it to being a great story arc. I do enjoy it. It doesn't bother me. There are a few things that I will mention that do bother me that really brings this movie's rating to this movie's percentage critic scoring down to a minimal. But in the meantime, we're talking about these characters and how their superpowers, the way that they use them throughout this movie, is a really huge, great impress. It really very much impressed me. I really did like it. Here's the other one, Cersei, which is played by Gemma Chan. I love on how her superpower is changing elements. You know, she could change water into anything like metal or a tree into a rock, things like that. When I see those things, it's like, okay, that's a really great technique. It's kind of like telekinesis, but in a sort of different pattern. So I really did like that. Thena, which is played by Angelina Jolie, she can manipulate weapons out of this cosmic material that the Eternals use, that their superpowers are originated from. And the way that Angelina Jolie portrays this character, Thena, and the way that she performs with her weapon capabilities, her superpower capabilities, I find it to be very, very impressive. I love Angelina Jolie. I will watch anything that she is in. But when it comes to this film, I find that her screen time is very, very minimal. I feel like that there is a huger story arc for this character that was not put onto the table of this movie. If there are going to be sequels to the Eternals, I'd hope that there would be more character development with her. I would really love to get to see more of her. Not having to say just because it's Angelina Jolie, but I find, based off of what I've researched about this character, is very interesting. And the way that it was used in this movie was highly unnecessary, and there wasn't really much that was brought to the table for her. So I was kind of hoping that there would be more growth, more depth to her character. There's a lot of foreshadowing for a certain situation that was never brought to our attention. So I'm pretty sure that that's where the sequels will come into play, and hopefully questions will be answered in future films if there ever will be. Another great thing about this movie is the character of Kingo, which is played by Kumail Nanjiani, and he has his like finger blasters. That golden galactic material that they use for their superpowers, he blasts them right out of his hands, and I think that that's really cool. I really did love how Kingo is portrayed in this. He brings a lot of comedic performance into the movie to brighten up the film, to bring entertainment to the audiences, so that way we could love this movie. I remember when I went to go and watch it, I thought I was going to be last in line, thinking that, oh, well, the entire theater is going to be packed. Unfortunately not. If anything, there was maybe between 5 to 10 of us in this large theater, which I was completely disappointed. I was really hoping to have watched this in a large group of an audience and having to enjoy the film with the comedic performances of the character Kingo that is just bizarrely entertaining. I would have had a bigger set of laughs in this movie with this character if the audiences were there to join along with. But I love the character. He was really fun. Like I said, not enough screen time for this one either, because there's a certain fight sequence that he doesn't even show up for, and you would wonder, okay, well, I thought that this was like more of a recruiting film, and towards a certain fight sequence, we would get to see him more in action in full costume. We don't get to see that here, so that was kind of a disappointment for me. Another character, Phastos, played by Brian Tyree Henry. He is like this galactic mechanic sort of character. You know, he creates things off of he's very knowledgeable with things, and he can put together, he's just like this little this mechanic. He can develop weapons, he can create things, and for for the base of knowledge. And I thought that that was really interesting on how he uses that to fight back against the villain of the film, which we will be talking about here in a little bit. But I really, I didn't think that Disney would be doing this, is putting this character as a, as gay. And I don't know, I never seen Disney do that before. We had some hints with Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, but it was never really revealed because there was no love interest in her film, nor have we seen with her character in this cinematic universe just yet. Maybe somewhere down the line we will seeing that, but in the meantime, this is the first time I've ever seen Disney bring us a gay couple, a gay character in this. I have nothing against gay people, don't get me wrong. It's just, it kind of throws me away from the movie. It's for me, I find disturbing, especially when it comes for Disney. So there's that. And then we have another character, Makkari, played by Lauren Ridloff, and her superpower is speed. I love this superpower. This is really cool. We got the Flash, we got Quicksilver, so on and so forth. But this one, man, the way that she performs her speed capabilities as her superpower, she does it phenomenal. I really do love this. Even though that her character is deaf, the actress is as well. And I love deaf actors and actresses. I love sign language. I haven't really learned the capabilities of sign language just yet. I would really love to. That's one of the languages I would love to learn sometime in the future. I just think it's just fascinating, and just having the sign language and then the speed capabilities is one of the very many pluses of this movie that I would go ahead and give. But brilliant performance with Lauren Ridloff. I'm really looking forward to seeing if there is any future for the Eternals, to see more of her, or if she could get her own solo film. That would be fantastic. Then we get Druig, played by Barry Keoghan, and his superpower is mind manipulation. I don't know. I mean, there's some limitations towards that, because yes, you have the capability of manipulating others to do, to go against their own will and do as you ask them to do. But when it came to the final fight sequence, I'm thinking, what can he do in this final fight? He can't really do anything. For the safety of the human beings that he mind manipulates, he can't have them interfere and get hurt. And that's what he does throughout this movie. He throws out this certain performance showing that I was assuming that he would have been the villain, because you have this large group of characters, and it's like Suicide Squad all over again. One of them tends to be the villain somewhere down the line of this movie, and there's going to be a few of the characters that are going to get killed off, opening doors for other characters in the future, which of course will happen if this movie is successful. But yeah, I found that Druig it felt like he just gives that sort of villain vibe that I was kind of expecting, but did not happen. He's more of the bad boy of the group. He's like the Raphael to the of the Ninja Turtles. He's more of the rogue type of character, which he really does throw out in this movie, and really, it convinced me very, very much. Then we get another one, Sprite, not the soda, but this character played by Leah McHugh, and her superpower is projection, so kind of like a Loki sort of thing, and I think that she uses it very, very well. Now, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out here, and I apologize for assuming this, for this assumption, but this entire time, I thought the character Sprite, this entire time, was a boy. I didn't know it was a girl, and I apologize for my misunderstanding. Because for me, the way I look at it is, you see a child with short red hair, I'm thinking Ronald Weasley from the Harry Potter movies. And ever since then, I'm just like thinking, okay, well, here we go. Here's another redheaded little boy. but unfortunately not. And I was thinking to myself in this entire movie is if there's going to be an Eternal sequel, evidently because this child cannot grow up. How are they? Because the actress will grow eventually, yes. Especially years down the line, if there will be another Eternals movie, that there's just no logical explanation as to how is it that this character who cannot age, but the actress does, and you can't ignore that. So, but they do come up with a solution for it. I thought they were going to ignore it, but they found a solution for it to make more sense of it, and I really do hope that we get to see more of this character in future films. Now let's talk about the villain, or so-called the villains of this movie, which there really was not a main antagonist. There really was not. You get this character, Crow, which is the main deviant, and like I said, they're like this galactic demon, dog-like figures, but this certain in particular deviant named Crow, which is actually voiced by Bill Skarsgård. We all know who Bill Skarsgård is, which happens to be Pennywise, the dancing clown from the It movies that these recent past years that we've been watching. And yet this deviant Crow, this superpower is like a power absorber. So, like I mentioned earlier, is that some of these Eternals are going to get killed off. And because of this deviant, it absorbs their powers and becomes more stronger, much more human-like, and that's where the villain comes in, which I was hoping would be the main antagonist, giving us more depth, more meaning to the deviant mythology of this universe, giving us more meaning towards it, but it completely erases all of it. It does not give out any meaning to it, and completely wipes away what the significant purpose of the Eternals are, because that was their mission, is that they could not interfere with Earth's knowledge of inhabiting and adapting to their knowledge, and for a certain reason too. I mean, because they're okay. I'm a Christian, okay, and I believe in God, and I believe that God created all life, man, the sun, the universe, everything. But when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that's not the case. It's something completely different, which really could not connect me to the movie to believe that this is possible. So, according to Marvel, according to the comic books, according to the Eternal movie, there's these beings called Celestials, and the main Celestial, who is the godlike figure to the Eternals answer to this Celestial named Arishem. There you go, Arishem. And this is like a huge character. I'm like thinking like Galactus huge, and I'm thinking if there's ever going to be a Galactus in this universe, it's probably going to be even bigger than Arishem, bigger than the Celestial. So when it comes to this character, Arishem, he's more of the backskirts sort of character. He is sort of speak that we will see maybe in future films as well, more depth to the character. And I think that this character, oh god, is more of a villain to the entire saga of the Eternal movies, if there will ever be, because I keep mentioning it because, like I said, this movie does have mixed reviews, and there's not a guarantee if there will ever be a continuation of this story. But yeah, it's there, and Arishem discusses the story as to the very meaning of the Eternals, what their true mission is all about, and I really don't want to point it out there. I mean, like I said, it does make sense to this movie in particularly, but I've been told that don't look at this movie as a Marvel movie, because I'm thinking, because there's certain situations that do happen in this film, but yet it's you always scratch your head at the end, towards this entire thing is, So where are all the other Avengers? Where are all the superheroes that we know from all the other films in the past? How is this affecting them? Because this is like a destruction of Earth sort of storyline. And this could affect not just the Eternals, but for everybody else on the freaking planet. And that's how I felt like when it came to Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi was not a destruction of Earth type of movie, but yet it caused the attention of the Avengers to interfere and bring Shang-Chi over to their team now. So I was wondering, why didn't we see any of the Avengers? They were mentioned in this movie, but we never got to see them. They even throw out some references of Batman and Superman, and I'm like, okay, that's really weird mixing DC and Marvel up together. Is that hinting the fact that there eventually will be a crossover, since we are doing a multiverse thing between the two franchises? DC's doing it, Marvel's doing it. Eventually, it seems as though they're coming to an agreement someday to legitimately cross. If that were to happen, oh my gosh, man, mind blown, like completely mind blown here. But another thing that caught my attention that really made me want to go on watching this movie, not only just for the movie itself, but I've been told that there is a mid and end credit scene that was supposed to be a mind-blowing experience, something that was going to keep us at the edge of our seats, so excited, so amped for what's to come next. And that's what I was looking forward to, hoping that that's what would happen with me, because that's how I was when I watched the mid-credit scene for Venom: Let There Be Carnage, of what happened there. Ooh, did that blow my mind? Why? Because we know what's going on, and we're excited for when that happens. We didn't know it was going to happen, but it's happening, and we're like, whoa, what? So, but when it comes to these two in particular post-credit scenes, honestly, like I said, I don't follow the comics. It was really difficult for me to learn and understand as to what it was exactly I was watching, what I was learning here. Because so far that I know, I've known all of the other superheroes that have been developed into film these last 10 to 15 years, except for Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi was a completely different sort of character that I really didn't know anything about until I had to do some research, which I did also with the Eternals. But when it came to these two in particular post-credit scenes, that's where I had to do a lot of homework, because when I watched them, had no idea what I was watching. There was one towards the end where I had an idea as to what it was I was watching, otherwise listening, and it turns out I was right. And I'm really excited for that. Because I'm going to talk about this, and this is where the spoilers come out. This is something I'm going to be completely rapidly talking about with these, and then I'll be done. Post-credit scene 1. Some of the Eternals are missing. Other Eternals are off on a mission. There comes in a character which the CGI of this character looks completely ridiculous. It does not look at all realistic. Called Pip the Troll. Never heard of him, but the CGI looks terrible. I hope that they really do some readjustments to this character, making him look a little bit more realistic. That way it can pull me into the movie and accept that this character does look real. But so far, when it comes to this post-credit scene, it does not. It's just completely just stupid. I didn't like it at all. And the voice sounded very familiar, and I found out that it was Oswald Patterson. And I thought that, oh, okay, well, this guy, he's just a complete nerd with Marvel and DC comic books and movies. And having to see him finally being part of a movie, voiceover work, it's great getting to know that he's finally a part of something. So, but he introduces this character, which happens to be the brother of Thanos. So, stating the fact that this character is actually an Eternal, which stating that Thanos was also sort of an Eternal. But this character called Star Fox. Never heard of Star Fox either. Played by Harry Styles. Don't know who Harry Styles is either. But apparently these two characters are here. They are with these other, with the last remaining Eternals, and now they're helping them to go on this mission to find the others that are missing, which opens up doors to the the next movie or whatever movie they're going to be reappearing themselves in. Could be within the next Avengers movie. I don't know, but it really does throw out a lot of question marks out there. And then the second one reveals that this character, Dane Whitman, which is played by Kit Harington, which a lot of people would know off of Game of Thrones. Guy is really cool. I really do like this guy. But he's rarely in the movie. But he's in the ending, and he talks about himself, about how his family has, a very weird, a weird family history. But he doesn't get to reveal it until the end credits scene, where he opens this box and there happens to be this this sword that has some kind of cosmic superpower to them. And when I suppose he's going to be, what I found out by researching, is this character called Black Knight, and have no idea who Black Knight is. And I'm just like, okay, so this is interesting. It's interesting, but I'm not intrigued. I'm not like, oh wow, I can't wait to see this guy. I know exactly who this guy is, but it doesn't happen. But that wasn't it though. Towards the ending of that scene, there is a voiceover, which people were to have believed that could be the Watcher from the What If series, which I don't believe it was. The voice did sound African American. So I was under the assumption to believe that it could have been Mahershala Ali, who is casted to being Blade, which we will be seeing in Phase 5. And I did some research, I looked it up, and it apparently was. It was Blade. So, and I know that there are some comic books where Black Knight and Blade team up along with a few other superheroes as another sort of Avengers team. Going up against vampires, and there was a vampire reference in this movie, and it was a little bit of a joke with Kingo. So there are vampires in this world now, maybe because of the multiverse happening, because we did get zombies. So there is an idea for there to be vampires now. And I'm pretty sure that has to deal with the fact of the multiverse, which of course I think they're going to do the same thing with mutants. So, wow, man, this movie was huge. It was long. There was a lot of boring moments. There were times where I felt like I wanted to go to sleep because I just got out of work before going to this movie, and I didn't know whether the fact the movie was boring or just the fact that I was just tired from work that was almost putting me to sleep. I didn't fall asleep, but my eyelids were hanging by a thread, and just crossing my fingers hoping I did not fall asleep, because I paid money to watch this movie, and I wanted to watch this movie, and I wanted to like this movie. 2 out of the 3 had happened, 1 did not, apparently. There was a part of the movie I did enjoy, but the majority of it seemed just boring. It really did. It's a movie that I could say is not rewatchable. You can watch it one time to just have the experience, but I don't see that this is a movie that would capture you to wanting to watching it again and again and again. Just the once is fine. And I don't really see that, because since this movie doesn't really have the in particular motivation to extending itself. I see it just a one film experience, and then after that, eliminate it, and let's move on with our Phase 4 going on to Phase 5 movies or TV shows, which of course we're getting with Spider-Man No Way Home, and then Hawkeye, and then whatever's coming in 2022. So Rotten Tomatoes went ahead and rated this movie a 49%, and it was a little higher, but has been decreasing since then, and it's really capturing people to be very discouraged as to whether or not they should go and watch this movie. For me, I went ahead and rated it around the same area at a 44%, because there are great positives to this movie, but there are very many negatives that really put me away to not watching this movie again. Maybe it's because I'm not familiar with the characters, I'm not familiar with the story, but that's happened before, and yet it's a successful Marvel film. But I don't know. Eternals is still a huge question mark as to what we're going to be doing with this, with these group of characters, with the story. What's going to happen next? We don't know. It really does depend on the audiences and the box office as to if Marvel does make money off of it or not. Anyways, you guys, I'm Awesome Joe. Thank you guys so much for taking in the time of your day to watching another one of my videos. That is my review for The Eternals. Have you guys checked it out? If not, go to your local theater right now. It is out in theaters, and have a good time with it. Even though I've thrown so many negative remarks towards this movie, and I didn't like it as well as I anticipated it to, I hope that others have different opinions towards it and become part of the awesome conversation to this video. If you want to check out some more of my videos, you can look me up on Facebook and on YouTube at Awesome Joe Movie Reviews. Don't forget to click on that like and subscribe button there, you guys. I really do appreciate everybody supporting my channel. It's a huge personal hobby of mine that I love to share amongst all of you wonderful viewers out there, because I love to talk about movies, but most importantly, I love to talk about them with you. So anyways, you guys, I'm Awesome Joe. Keep on living the dream, and as always, stay awesome. Thanks, you guys, once more again, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Bye.
Thank you.